This is a tutorial on Google Docs review functionality on CLM for Salesforce. So Google Docs review is going to be an alternative to Microsoft XAuthor, which is going to be the way that Conga uses the technology to redline and negotiate contracts with both customers and internal participants. So Google Docs Review is currently part of our early adopter program. That means that it can be signed up for and installed in a sandbox environment. And then after a period of testing, it can be brought to production. So there is no charge for Google Docs Review. It's currently offered for free. And it's an upgrade for the CLM on Salesforce package. So what this does is essentially enable us to do that redlining and negotiation using only Google Docs. So through that collaborative process of being able to edit Google Docs and not have any files saved on a computer or emailed back and forth, it does everything through the cloud, and you're able to negotiate and to collaborate with people using the Google Docs link in the send for review. So I'm going to begin here on an agreement record, and we're looking at CLM for Salesforce, and we have the agreement computer parts, and we can see it's in the request status. We have the basic agreement details at the top, and then more details on the sections here in the middle. And if we scroll down to the bottom, we're going to see on the system information, we have the Google Doc enabled Google Drive checkbox. So I'm going to go ahead and check that and click Save. After we have initiated that Google Docs, we can then generate the document under Agreement Actions, Document Actions Generate. We'll see here that the output file type is now GDoc, so there is a template that's going to be used to generate this contract using the data from the agreement record. So once this document has generated, we'll see it here in the document versions. And I'm going to go ahead and initiate the send for Google Docs review. We'll see that it has automatically pulled up that contract that we have generated, and also the primary contact of the account. We can see here that it contains a branded and templated message here that will let the review participant know that they have a contract up for review. So now I'm going to jump in as the customer Diego Francis to my email. And so the customer does not require to have any other applications such as Conga or Microsoft Word. They just need an access to their browser and an email account so that they can be added to the review cycle. So once we log in to the customer's email and open what we received from the negotiation, all they have to do is open this file, which will open in Google Docs, and they can go ahead and continue to make their edits for redlining. So I'm going to go ahead and change the agreement start date, the agreement end date, and the total agreement value. And I'll make some changes to these clauses. Intellectual property rights, order and confidential information. So once the customer has went through and made their edits, all they have to do then is close out of the Google Doc. So a very simple process for them. And then at that point, they can reply to this email that they have reviewed this. And that way you will be aware that their portion of the review has completed. So coming back to the agreement record now, we're going to see that it has moved from the request to the inauthoring stage. And if I scroll down here, we'll see on the right the review status. Once I click the refresh button, we see that it has populated. And when I go into the review cycle details, we'll see some further information, when this was initiated, who it was initiated by, and we see that Diego Francis is the reviewer. If we choose to add additional participants, we can do so by clicking the Add Reviewer button. So we can add up to a total of 10 participants on a review cycle, and those can be both internal or external participants or a mix of the two. So the way that we add it is to add them on the to line here. And basically, if they are part of our Conga CLM as an internal user, we could just type their name and it'll populate. Otherwise, we can type the email here for external participants and then add them to the review cycle, and they will receive the same templated and branded email message letting them know that a contract is up for review. So this is a collaborative process. So one reviewer does not have to complete their portion of the review for another person to begin theirs. And you can choose to end reviews either manually for each participant or wait until everyone has collaborated and end the review cycle entirely for all participants. So once that review has been completed for Diego, I'm going to now jump into Google Docs, and we have this extension Conga for Google Docs, which can be added as an extension. And from here, I will go into the contracts. We can see here that we have a document, computer parts. And now, as someone from the organization who is completing this red line process, accepting or rejecting changes, we now have the ability to do that using this extension. So the first thing I'm going to want to do here is acquire this contract. It now says this is locked to me to go through these changes and either accept or reject them. So we can see here that we have these fields which are picked up that have been modified. And it's the same when we can go to the document clauses. We will see those too, the three that have been modified. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this redlining process. And by clicking reconcile, that is going to true up the data that we see on this contract to Conga CLM and Salesforce. So we see here that, this is the change to the fields and everything looks good here. So I'm going to go ahead to next. And this is where we can see the clauses. So we can see the changes made here to intellectual property rights and the order definition. and also the confidential information. Everything looks good, so I'm going to go ahead and check in this document. So now that we have checked in, we can go back to the agreement record. And at this time, we're going to see that we have the agreement start date still at 10/29 and the agreement end date still in 10/31/2025 and the total agreement value of 33,000. But once we refresh this page, it's going to true up that information and it's going to reconcile that data. So by clicking refresh, we'll see here that it has updated the agreement start date and the agreement end date. And also the total agreement value has been reconciled to $30,000. We can also have a look here at the agreement clauses. And we'll see it populates the first three that have been modified, highlighted in yellow, with the changes that have been made to those clauses. So this is a very efficient way to collaborate on a review process for negotiation and redlining without having to use XAuthor. It still leverages the clause library and the data that you have within the CLM record for the agreement and the template that you can create with your own style. So this is now available as part of our early adopter program. So if you're interested in learning more about this and how you can install this and get it up and running, please contact someone here at Conga and we'll be happy to do that for you. Thank you.